Hello everyone, and welcome back to our weekly video series, Saints Marching. And in this video series, we will learn about a different saint of the week each week, focusing in a particular way on some of our lesser known saints, hoping that our knowledge of the saints will continue to grow. Our Saints Marching saint of the week this week is Saint Margaret Clitherow. Saint Margaret's memorial is March 26th. She's not actually in our liturgical calendar, but she's an English saint. More on that in a moment. And so she's in the liturgical calendar for the church in Great Britain. She was born in the year 1555 and she died in the year 1586. Now, St. Margaret Clitherow was born in Middleton, England. And keep in mind that the year of her birth, 1555, was after the English Reformation that was brought on by the establishment of the Church of England by King Henry VIII. And that whole thing came about because of the issue of his desire to divorce his first wife and get married to produce a male heir to the English throne. The two most famous martyrs of that era in England are the Bishop St. John Fisher and the Lord High Chancellor of England, St. Thomas More. But there were other martyrs as well, most of whom entered into glory not during the reign of King Henry VIII, but rather during the reign of his daughter, Queen Elizabeth I. St. Margaret Clitherow was one such martyr. Again, she was born in the year 1555, again during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, and she was a daughter of English Protestant parents. All reports tell of how she was blessed with physical beauty, as well as a pleasant wit and joyful temperament, making for an overall charming personality. She married John Clitherow, who was a well-to-do butcher, and they had 2 children. Soon after they married, she converted and became a Catholic. Her zeal for her Catholic faith inspired her to hide and harbor fugitive priests. By this time, to be a priest in England was illegal, and any priests found were imprisoned and most of them were executed. If they weren't executed, they were exiled. Almost every exiled Catholic priest that I have ever heard of found a way to return to England, were caught, eventually imprisoned again, and then were executed. In this time, England truly became mission territory once again. St. Margaret's secret labors of hiding and harboring priests were eventually discovered by her husband or by someone else is unclear, and she was arrested and put into prison. Hostile authorities tried everything to entice her to deny her popish proclivities, that is, her Catholic faith, but she stood firm. Finally, she was condemned to death, sentenced to be pressed to death. Now, the most common means of death for Catholic priests captured during this time were to be hung, drawn, and quartered. So they'd be hung, but not quite till death, and then they were basically torn apart, tortured alive, and then their arms and legs cast to the 4 corners of England. St. Margaret, however, was pressed to death. This involved her being stretched out on the ground with a sharp rock on her back, and she was crushed underneath a door that was laid on top of her, and the door had weights added to it, so that slowly but surely the weight pressed upon her was incrementally increased. Her bones were broken, and she died within 15 minutes, so the stories go. Her raw humanity mingled with her undeniable holiness can be found in the words that she wrote to a friend of hers when she herself was informed of her condemnation. She said, "The authorities have said that I'm going to die this coming Friday, and I feel the weakness of my flesh, which is troubled at this news, but my spirit rejoices greatly. For the love of God, pray for me and ask all the good people to do likewise." St. Margaret Clitherow, pray for us. Thank you once again for joining us in Saints Marching, and please join us again next week. In our next video, we will now have entered into the Easter season, and so we will shift to those saints whose memorial frequently are found during the Easter season, which will give it a different, kind of a different color and taste of how we celebrate those saints. So thank you once again, and God bless you all.